What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again with another video. And today we're going to be talking about new creatives. Like, when is the best time to launch them? How are they useful? Should you just scale the whole time with one creative? Should you launch new creatives? What are the rules associated with new creatives? As you know, a lot of my strategies are built off of rules that I follow like pretty strictly. So I'm going to be sharing it all with you. I'm also going to be walking you through and showing you a lot of different types of creatives that have performed very well for me in the past, so that you can go out and duplicate them on your store and make more money. So I'm going to start with a couple basic things, a couple statements that I want to say that I think will be really valuable to give you an idea of kind of where I stand in terms of launching new creatives, and also give you a better idea of where you should stand in terms of launching new creatives. So the first thing that I want to say is launching new creatives is not a necessary action with Facebook ads until you get to a certain level. Now, ad fatigue has been something that has been brought up a lot in the past. Now, examining TikTok ads, we're seeing heavy ad fatigue with TikTok, where ads are just dying out super quickly, like within 2 weeks to a month. Whereas with Facebook, I've been in this game a long time. I've never seen ad fatigue really take a big toll on any store until it hits, $500K to $1 million in sales. And at which point, hopefully by the time you're doing those numbers, you're already testing new creatives and all that stuff. So I want to say this: new creatives are helpful from getting from $100,000 in sales to $500,000, because you can do retargeting, you can get different campaigns made and different ways to scale. Definitely not necessary though. Like, I've scaled plenty of stores to $500,000 and higher even with a single creative without even launching any new creatives at all. But I do want to say that if you want to get over $1 million in sales, it pretty much is necessary for you to be launching new creatives and testing new creatives. And in most cases, it is necessary. Like, once you cross the $500,000 point, depending on your margin and how much revenue and how many impressions you actually have to make to hit that revenue. So one thing I want to point out is I don't necessarily recommend launching new creatives strictly with cold traffic. So, we'll get into a little bit of strategy later on in this video on how you should actually go about, introducing new creatives and scaling new creatives, because there is a specific strategy that I use for it. But I don't really recommend just going out and creating, a cold campaign with no previous experience with the ad and just testing a new ad willy-nilly like that. There is a strategy to this, which I will be covering in this video. Another thing that I want to point out and say is, while you're scaling, most people like to, the first thing that they do when they start seeing success is they try to test a whole bunch of different things and make it better. And I just want to remind you to not forget to scale and milk what you have that's already working before trying to test and get in any other ads. Don't get caught in the shiny ball syndrome where you're always chasing the next big thing. Don't forget to take a step back and actually scale what you have that works. Because if you're not able to scale what you already have that's working, there's no point in testing, because you're just always going to be testing for no reason. Make sure you actually milk what you have. And another thing that I want to point out is, at any point in your scale, it doesn't matter if you've done $1,000 in sales or 50 or 500 or 3 million. It doesn't matter. At any point, at all times, in my mind, from my experience, it is always okay and a good idea to test new creatives with retargeting. Now, as you know, I have a lot of strict rules, and these are just some of the rules that I'm following, some of the foundational rules that I follow to make sure that I'm doing my best when I'm scaling stores. And retargeting has always been one of those things where you can be kind of loose with it. And I actually just released a video called Retargeting 101. It was actually an updated video on one of my old series. And it is probably the most valuable video on retargeting that is out there. And I say that very, very humbly. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying that not a lot of people focus on retargeting. But if you're not doing retargeting, you definitely need to go watch that video, because it goes hand in hand with this video very, very well. So let's cover types of new creatives, what has worked for me, what hasn't worked, what things can you do, because I know when you're in the heat of the moment, it can be kind of tough to, get creative and try to figure out what exactly you should be doing, or if you are trying to launch new creatives, what types of creatives could you actually do. So the first one is, doing testing with your ad copy, and then obviously you also have your media. So for ad copy, you have short form and long form. This is essentially just like having a short ad copy or a long ad copy, a really descriptive ad copy. These are really good. Most of the time with e-commerce, I've been seeing the most success for the longest time with short form ad copy, but of course it's always worth testing long form, especially if you're in those higher revenue figures and you're transitioning into a brand. You want to show that you know a lot about your product, and doing that in the ad can definitely do that. Another thing is adding discounts, adding call to actions, which, by the way, Short form and long form, I'm about to give you an example on, what it looks like, and I'm also going to give you an example of like different discount phrases that you can say and different call to action phrases that you can say that I've already said in the past that I already know work. And then you have your ad media, so your video, your image. So obviously if your main ad is a video ad, it would be worth testing some image ads, see how they work. And make sure you stick with this video because later on I'm going to be talking about the actual strategy into launching new creatives and the best way to go about it. Make sure you stick until that point so that you can come back and you'll really start to understand how this all comes together. But anyways, you test a video, test an image. That's just one like basic one that most people already think about. Another thing that you can test, which I'll be showing you examples of, is user generated content. Now this is, people essentially just whipping out their phones and just being like, hey, I bought this product from this company, it's working really, really good. And they're essentially just giving a testimonial. It's not a professional advertisement, it's not anything like that. You'll see in the examples. You can also do an unboxing as an ad. You can also do a demo, which is where they show how the product works and stuff. Another thing that we kind of pioneered in this industry that performs really, really well is animations. So in the dropshipping world, nobody was doing animations, and I kind of questioned why. So we started it up with viral e-com ads, and it actually worked really, really well. I was able to see some incredible results taking one of my student stores from 0 to 20K a day in just 10 days using animations. So I'll be showing you some examples of those and where to get them. And then you have combo ads, which essentially is just animations mixed with a normal video ad, which those are also really cool. And then you can also test different eye catchers, so like the first 5 seconds in a video ad. First, let's break down short form versus long form copy. Now, like I said, one of them is going to be short and quick and to the point with a call to action, just get them to the store, simple as that. The other one is going to more explain the product, explain the features and the benefits, explain how it solves their problems. It's going to really take a minute to read, and the link usually is not going to be available right then because you kind of want people to read it so that before they hit your landing page, they're actually sold and they mostly understand what the product is and stuff. So as you can see, I have an example. It's a little push-up board thing. Most of you probably know this product. If you don't, you can just go on AliExpress and look up push-up board. So the short form example that I have here is do 10 plus different types of push-ups with this board. Get it here. So super simple, super quick, really easy. This is honestly probably the type of ad copy that I would run most of the time when it comes to testing products, just because I personally don't think long form has made that big of a difference in terms of e-commerce, right? Like in other industries, it could do better, yada, yada, whatever. We're talking about e-commerce here. I think short form is the way to go. It's the best way to start out, but it is definitely worth testing a long form style of copy, which you can see here that we have, one sentence, and then we have a couple sentences or like a little paragraph going on in the middle, and then we have our call to action, and we have another sentence on the bottom just pointing out another feature of the product. So let's go over discounts and call to actions really quickly. I don't want to waste too much time here because this is super simple. But just a couple examples of what you could put in your ad copy to add a discount to it. Take an extra 20% off at checkout, use code, and then put your discount code. You can also do holiday sales like Christmas sale, use code Christmas40 for 40% off. We do this frequently, and it is a great way to drive some extra revenue and put a nice little bump in your ROAS because these do actually work really, really well. And then of course, some really good call to actions that you can put in your ad copy if you're trying to split test these. Buy now, shop now, get it here, buy one now, available now. Essentially anything that urges the customer to go through and buy it. All right, now I'm going to show you some examples of the different ad medias I was talking about. So here we have the UGC. So like I said, this is essentially just you hire an actor or you can go to viral e-com ads, whatever we're about to offer in a week or so. But essentially all the actor does is whip out their phone and talk about the product. And you can request a few different things, like you can request an unboxing, demonstration, testimonial. So just to give you like a couple examples here.
Hey, so I decided I wanted to get this Mart calligraphy pen set. I wanted to learn how to do calligraphy because I thought it would be cool. And this came with a lot of different stuff. So definitely check out this calligraphy set.
So you can see in that one, it was essentially just her opening the product and showing off what it is, and she talked about it like a little bit. Let's move on to the demonstration now.
So I decided to pick up a Mart calligraphy set and figure out how it works. So after a little figuring out, I figured out you just put the color that you want in, you push it all the way in, and then you screw on the back. There we go. and then you're good to go for writing. I need to practice, but you can see that it works. I would definitely recommend picking one of these if you want to.
So these are really good for retargeting. If you're trying to do customer satisfaction, you can retarget people with a demonstration just to make sure that your customers are using the product correctly and they know how to use the product and everything like that. But these could also be really good for getting people to purchase because they see oh damn, that's pretty cool. This is how you use the product and this is where you buy it. So, and then we have a testimonial, which I don't feel like I need to show this because it's pretty self-explanatory. They're just essentially saying hey, I bought this product. It's working really, really great. I highly recommend it. Something along those lines. And these are pretty easy to get and pretty affordable. And they're really, really effective, especially if you're moving to other platforms such as TikTok, where UGC is pretty much the epitome of creatives on TikTok because it's native to the platform. But we've also seen them work very, very well with Facebook and Instagram ads if you're doing story ads, anything like that. So the next example would be our 2D animations, which this is what I was talking about, the type of ad that took one of my students' store from 0 to 20K a day in just 10 days. So essentially all these is they're images that are made to look like moving images. So there's some graphic design work or whatever the hell is going on. And I'll show you a couple examples. There's just music playing over it. But our team does a really, really good job of creating these, and it makes the products look super duper cool. These are really, really good for branding. If you're trying to build a brand, there's multiple other things that we can do with these types of products. Now, if you're selling a product like a pair of shoes, this might not look as cool as something electronic or something that actually has a function, but you can still get them and see how they come out. But like I said, they look really cool. You can see that essentially this just starts as an image and we turn it into this moving image that honestly is really effective, and you can see why these perform so well because it really makes it look like something legit. It looks crazy. It looks like something that a Fortune 500 company would show in a video ad on television or something like that. So these perform really, really well, just to give you an example of those. And now I'll show you an example of a combo ad, which these are really, really great for retargeting, cold traffic, all these kinds of things. And this is essentially one of those animations mixed with a real video. So let's see how this unfolds here. So you can see on the screen right now that's one of the animations, and then here we have a real video that's going to show for a little bit, and then we have another animation right here. And then, going back to the real video, and it'll just go back and forth. You can see that there's another animation. So this makes the ad super engaging and not really that boring. So you can make your ads look really, really good. These are one of my favorite video ad options from Viral Ecom Ads because they perform great, they look great, and they're very hard to copy, right? Your 2D animations are going to be completely unique to you. So now that you've seen all the different types of creatives that you can test, including ad copy and different types of medias, let's talk a little bit about the strategy that I actually use to launch new creatives, make sure that I'm doing it in the right way and in the most effective way. So the easiest sequence, the easiest way to think of it is to start with retargeting, and then if it works with retargeting, do a basic cold traffic test. If the cold traffic test works, then of course scale it. So this is the ideal perfect scenario in terms of launching new creatives. No matter which step you are in the scaling process, I think it's always smart to start off with retargeting. Granted, you follow all the other rules. That way, in my opinion, retargeting has the best chance of making that ad work, and it gives it the best chance of getting momentum. It's also so that before you launch your creative with cold traffic, you can already have some sales, some engagement, some stuff going on the new creative before you launch it with a cold audience. But I do want to say, if you are in a situation and you're stubborn and you're a pain in the ass and you're no, I want to launch it with cold traffic, I don't want to launch it with retargeting, then I would say the best way to launch new creatives with cold traffic is to put multiple new creatives under each ad set. And you don't have to do this if you're retargeting because, like I said, there's a higher chance that it'll work with retargeting. But if you're doing cold traffic, I would say put multiple ads under each ad set, 3 to 5. I would say is the best option, just to give it the absolute highest chance that it'll work, because the worst thing that you can do is launch a new creative and then have it not work, because once it doesn't work, it usually won't work again. So I try to hit it, with the highest chance of being successful from the get-go, so that I have the highest chance of being able to scale the new creative. Another thing that I really want to point out that is super important when you're testing new creatives that a lot of people don't think about is if you're going to test, for example, an image as opposed to a video ad, then only change the image. Keep everything else the same That way you're doing like a functional split test and you can see, does the image make it perform better or does it perform better with a video? A couple things that you can do that'll really mess this up is if you launch a new video and a new ad copy at the same time, if it does really, really well, then you don't know what caused it to do really, really well. You don't know if it was the ad copy or the video. Same thing vice versa. If it did really bad, then you don't know if the ad copy sucked or if the new media sucks. So just make sure that when you're split testing and you're testing new creatives, only change one thing at a time. Do not be that guy that tests like 5 different things at once and just does something completely different from what works. If you go through and manage to test one thing at a time, eventually you will find the creative mix that works the best for your situation. This also goes for campaign and ad set structure. You do not want to try, 10 new interests with a completely new creative. You want to do interests that you already know work. You want to do retargeting audiences that you already know work. That way you have something to compare it to. And like I said, if it does well, you know why it did well. It's because of the new creative, not because of the targeting. But if it does bad, you know that it's the creative and not the targeting. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope it was valuable to you, seeing all the different types of creatives that you can do, and also talking about the strategy that you want to actually use when you're launching new creatives, because I feel like nobody really talks about it that much. They just kind of say like, oh, test new creatives, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, in my opinion, just based on the thousands of experiences that I've had launching new creatives. This is by far the best way to do it, and the examples that I gave you in this video are the best examples. So now you have no excuse not to test new creatives, and if you want to scale over $500,000 in sales, you're likely going to have to at some point. So make sure that you save this video for when you do hit it, and if you are hitting that right now, then maybe go out and implement some of the things in this video. Like I said, you have a tool that can get you these cool creatives really, really quickly, virallycomeads.com. I'm not going to promote them that much, but I showed you what we got, and if you want it, go ahead. But I hope this video is valuable to you. If you have any tips or advice for launching new creatives, leave them in the comments, because not only does it help me learn more, but it also helps the other viewers that are reading the comments as well. Maybe you'll ask a question that they had and vice versa. I really love when you guys do that, because it allows me to give like a really good answer that other people can read, and it helps the community out a lot. So that's it for this video. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.